Hi. Most people think that paying off your debt means that you have to live like a monk. No coffee, no holiday, no fun. But let me tell you something. I paid off our debt, including the mortgage, without ever feeling like it were a punishment. So just need to remember, like Ayn Rand said, that money is only a tool. It will take you anywhere you wish it to take you to, but it's not going to replace you as the driver. And remember, financial freedom is not about the money, it's about the life that you get to live. So in today's video, I want to share five powerful ways in which you can pay off your debt without feeling deprived, or more importantly, having fun in the process. The first point, or the first way, is to focus on what you gain and not what you're giving up. So, this is basically a change in your mindset, and focusing really on what you're gaining rather than obsessing over what you're giving up. For example, if I have to cut down on eating out, I'm not saying eliminating eating out, I'm saying cutting down on eating out. I wouldn't see that as missing out dinner, but I would rather see that 30 quid, 40 quid, it might be, as buying my future freedom earlier. So that 30 quid, 40 quid that I saved, I do not see that as deprivation. Rather, I see that as taking another brick off the wall of debt. Price you pay for anything is the amount of life that you exchange for it. So you've got to be aware of all these little expenses, because even a very small leak in a massive ship can sink it. And the money that you're saving, it's very important to link that to something that's absolutely valuable in your life. So in my case, it was always been about my kids, my family, and the security that a debt-free life would bring. And that change in mindset and linking it to something that you deeply value absolutely changes the way you look at sacrifice. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice, it feels like progress. And like Tony Robbins said, where focus goes, energy flows. And my second point here is you have got to build fun money in your budget, period. And this is especially true if you've got young family like I do. I've learned this very early, and it was one of my mistakes, that when your budget feels like a prison, eventually, unfortunately, you will break out and blow it all out. I highly recommend that you save a very small portion, reasonably small portion of your monthly income to just having fun. Uh, that is the one that's gonna help you maintain your sanity, because I don't know if I've said this before, this journey is not a sprint, it's a long game, it's a marathon. And that tiny amount of freedom that you get will help you sustain the discipline. And there's research to back this up. People who build in reward within their journey tend to be twice more likely to be successful in their long term financial goals. The third point is make it visual. And one of the reasons why I think that debt can be overwhelming is because it's invisible. So I had a tracker that I would go through it, and each month after the pay, the first thing I would do is to pay a portion of our debt, and color the graph. And it does sound silly, um, but in a strange way, as you see the graph shrinking, it's quite addictive. And here's the thing about our mind, our brain really, that when you're making it visual, and each payment feels like a win, not like a loss. I don't know how many of you watching are in the corporate job, but they usually use this term, what gets measured gets improved. This is quite applicable in your own personal financial journey, especially within budgeting, because it's telling you where your money is going rather than wondering where it went. And the fourth point is you've got to learn to replace um, stuff. Don't just remove them, especially if you have very young kids like I do. Kids do not care if they have the fanciest or the bestest of holidays, or if they are traveling in the most luxurious cars or business class. They do not care if they're having the biggest parties, but the only thing they care about is whether you show up or not. Therefore, I highly recommend that you learn the art of replacing rather than removing happiness. So I'll give you a very typical example that happens in our family. Our kids love pizza, but they do not care if it's from Domino's or if it's from Pizza Hut or Papa John's. No. So the way we've gone about is we get together as a family to make pizza. The whole event is so fun, and we've replaced something more expensive with something that is close to our heart and more valuable. Build memory in the process. Don't focus on what you can't do. Rather focus on what you can replace with. That is cheaper than the original. However, it gives you the joy that you're after or your kids are after. This is really nicely summed up in a book called Your Money or Your Life, that too many people think that it takes a lot of money to be happy, but the reality is that it's not tied to spending. And the study shows that especially for young families, that experiences, even if it's low cost, is a lot more memorable and valuable and cherishable over a long period of time than an expensive material purchases. The last point that we've applied in our life is to celebrate milestones, the big ones. I'm not on about the little successes, that it's 25% complete, 30% complete. No, I'm on about, yes, we've paid our car debt off, we've paid our credit card debt off. These are major milestones and they deserve celebration. You've got to do them. These little celebrations are extremely important. It plays a vital role in rewiring your brain into thinking that paying off this debt is not suffering, or it's not a struggle, but rather it's an achievement after achievement. And Robert Collier, he said in one of his books, I can't remember the name of the book, that success is some of the actions that are repeated day in, day out. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Just take the moment and try your best to make it perfect. So here's the truth of paying off your debt without feeling deprived whilst having fun. Focus on what you're gaining and not what you're losing. Build fun money into your budget. Make your progress visual. Replace your expensive habits with joyful alternatives. And last but not the least, celebrate milestones along the way. And like Warren Buffett, he's one of my biggest inspiration, he said, do not save what's left after spending, but rather save before you start spending. And remember, the biggest thing money can buy is freedom. And if this message hits home, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, Middle Class Millionaire, and join the community. And also drop a comment. Let me know what you would replace rather than remove in your journey towards a debt-free life. This is Mekhi. I'll see you in another video. Life is good. God is great. Bye.